welcome into CHGO Bets Daily, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook. Download the app today and use promo code CHGO when you sign up. Are you ready to gamble your bones off? You better be. You just entered Studio B. The B stands for bets here in the CHGO studios in the West Loop of Chicago. I'm Sean Anderson. You can follow me on Twitter at Sean_W_Anderson. Alongside me is Cody Delmendo. You can follow him on Twitter at Cody_CHGO. And the man in the bubble is Greg Braggs. He lays bricks for a living. And so does Purdue basketball. You can follow him on Twitter at Greg, at GBraggs, Junior 23. Hi, Greg.
All right. We're going to start it off like that. That's all right.
That was easy. It was too easy for me. That's all. That's all.
You know, I got to admit, they did. I think they had like 1 of 19 from 3 in their last game. So not too sure how they're going to show up tonight shooting the basketball, but they can't be shooting bricks like that if they expect to win.
So we got Greg wearing a Purdue hoodie. We're expecting some Purdue picks from him. We got Cody wearing an Illini basketball hoodie, and I know he's excited for college hoops tonight. I got some action. Cody's got some action as well. Let's jump into our bank real quick. Greg doesn't have one, but we try to keep up with this, Cody and I. We try over the past 8 months to try to figure out what we have in our bank. Cody has $473.06. to the actual sense. Oh, 400 and what did I say, 73? Yeah, okay. I do that all the time. 437. I try to give you more credit. $437.06. And I have about $55, $52.50. I don't remember. I tried betting on the Eagles game live last night, and as you could tell, nobody expected the Eagles to lose. Neither did I.
Yeah, that was classic one of those, like, I regret. Because I thought about sprinkling on the Commanders' money line before the game at plus 400. I thought about it, and then I didn't. But that's okay. Whatever.
You know, you could have.
I could have.
Greg, hey, did you have any bad beats over the weekend? Have you bet anything recently? Did you bet on Monday Night Football last night? What was your recent betting experience like?
No, I've been staying away from giving my money away until you guys teach me how to make it. So that's why I'm here. You know, I mean, I'm definitely going to start dabbling now that we're doing this college basketball show on Tuesdays, and I'm going to start dipping my toes in the water. But as of right now, I do not have any winnings to my name, but no losings either. So I'm breaking even, which is better than being down, right?
There you go.
There you go. And as long as you're using DraftKings Sportsbook, you'll be doing it the right way. Basketball is back, both NBA and men's college basketball. So tip off the season with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. New customers can make any $5 bet on the NBA money line or any NBA money line and get $200 in free bets if your team wins. In addition to the usual bets like spreads, totals, and money lines, everyone can boost their winnings up to 100% with DraftKings stepped-up same-game parlays. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, opt in, and place a stepped-up same-game parlay today. With bigger payouts than ever, DraftKings Sportsbook is where I go to bet on the NBA. We'll have a ton of different matchups to discuss tonight, like the Marquette and Purdue game that Greg is going to talk about in a sec, and you could download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now to bet on these games. And again, use promo code CHGO, make any $5 bet this week and get $200 in free bets if your team wins. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with promo code CHGO. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. And Cody and Greg, we got a big night. Champions Classic is happening. We got Michigan State versus Kentucky, and we have Duke versus Kansas. Before we get into that, before we get into Cody's locks, Greg, you have the Purdue Boilermakers who are 2-0 versus the Marquette Golden Eagles. Let's go to the Big Ten, one of these bigger matchups. What do you think of your Boilermakers tonight? And it is in West Lafayette.
Spread down to 8, by the way. It was 9 most of the night. Or most of the
Yeah,
day.
I mean, it doesn't surprise me that it's moving down because honestly, I feel like Purdue is the underdog in this game. I know it's hard to play at Mackey Arena, but from what I've seen here these first 2 games, and I know the coaches poll put Purdue into the top 25, they certainly have the pieces if everything comes together and some young players grow up on this team, but that's their thing. They have a lot of young players. They have 3 guys that are, you know, as green as they can be, and 2 that are starting in Braden Smith and Fletcher Lawyer, who are certainly very talented players. Braden Smith plays point guard, and Fletcher Lawyer is a dead-eye shooter, and his brother, obviously we've seen him over the last few years shooting the rock. So we know the Lawyer brothers can do that, but they're young. And like I said, this last game on Friday, they're 1 of 19 from 3. They can't depend on Zach Edey to carry them. They're going to have to pull from different places. And right now, I think tonight is kind of a prove it to me kind of night. So if I was leaning, I'm going to lean towards Marquette. I mean, as far as who's going to win the game. Now, as far as the spread is concerned, I guess you'd have to be careful about Purdue keeping it close. So I don't know. To me, Marquette's going to win this game outright. So
I place that bet right now, man, because they're Marquette's huge dogs, man. 8-point dogs. You get them a plus money on the money line right now.
Right.
What's the line on the money line?
8. I would hammer that personally because
probably like plus 200 or something.
I would hammer it personally. I mean, like I said, it's more of a prove it moment for me. Maybe I'll be wrong. They certainly have the pieces, and these young guys aren't afraid. I'm not saying they are. I just don't know. Marquette has good guard play. So, I think, it's going to be a growing up period here, and we're only the third game into the season. I think that's asking a bit much for these guys to grow up that quickly. It is at Mackey. That's a tough arena to play. The house is going to be rocking tonight. I wish I was going to be able to get out there, but the roads are a little too slick for my taste, so I'm not going to make the trip out to West Lafayette to see it for myself.
Do you not have four-wheel drive?
I mean, I do, but I'll tell you what.
I'm just wondering. I mean, you're a brick guy, so I'd assume you have like a big-ass truck.
Driving to West Lafayette is immensely more dangerous than driving to Chicago. So I'll just leave it at that. It's safer to stay at my house.
We want you alive.
Yeah, the semis, they don't know how to drive. So I'm going to stay at home on my couch, watch the championship classic, and watch Duke and watch Michigan State, and then obviously be going crazy for my Purdue Boilermakers. But I don't feel great about this game. And if Marquette is 8-point underdogs, I'm going to push my money towards Marquette if I was anybody interested in putting something on that.
Plus 300 on the money line for Marquette. Greg, if you're calling this upset, I mean, Cody and I, we love plus money. Plus 300, $10 gets you $40. I mean, that's $10.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like I said, they're just so dependent on the team as a collection shooting threes, and they don't have a guy that necessarily can get his own shot. They don't have Jaden Ivey this year. So they're dependent on Zach Edey dominating, and there's always a chance of him getting into foul trouble. He's a tough guy to ref. I mean, sometimes he gets in foul trouble quick, and a lot of times it's not even really, I think they're questionable calls, but he's such a tough guy to ref down low. He finds himself into foul trouble more times than not. So if that's your anchor and you don't have that Travion Williams behind him that can save you, and then you're depending on the rest of the team to shoot the rock at a pretty high rate, I just have my concerns as far as them being able to do that consistently here, at least early on against some of these better teams. So it's a prove it night for me. And I would, if I was looking at Purdue, I'd be a little worried about this game. So I'd go the other way and try to win some money.
Well, before Greg said all of this, I put in Slack that I was taking Purdue -9, and that was before it moved down to 8. So I guess this is my way of helping you feel better about this, Greg.
Fade Cody.
Thank you, Sean.
Hey.
So Marquette, like Purdue, also, they don't have the same guys from last year. They're a young team too. And the biggest guy they have that's going to be able to guard Zach Edey is 6'9". So I think what Purdue, if Purdue's going to cover the 8 or 9 points, they're going to slow the game down, and they'll probably hit more shots from outside than they did in the last game, which you can't bank on it, but it's not like Marquette's defense is anything that's going to change anything or scare you, right? The way Shaka Smart runs things. I remember going all the way up to Milwaukee and watching them upset Illinois last year. More on that another time. So I just think that Purdue's going to slow it down. You got the crowd. You got the. I know what it's like watching Illinois play at that arena. And even before last season, it's a tough place to play. You're asking a young Marquette team to go into West Lafayette and do something that they haven't done yet. Like that, there's a reason that they're 8 or 9 point underdogs in this matchup. Like you said, everything about Purdue, about being a young team, unproven, it's the same exact thing for Marquette, except they don't have nearly as many talented guys as Purdue does. So if that helps you feel better, maybe Marquette can hang around and cover the 8 or 9, but that's the reason I took Purdue is like they're bigger than them, they have more talent than Marquette, and they're at home. So that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of variables going their way, 100%. I just worry about they were 3-19 from 3. And at one point they were 0 for 14 to start. They gotta really play a lot better.
Well,
and
Marquette wants to play a lot faster, yep. And maybe, just maybe, that could play into Purdue the way that they would like. Maybe that plays into their favor at some point. But right now, I think Purdue wants to play slower and be able to get Zach Edey the ball down low and play more of a half court style game. But I don't know.
Marquette does have 32 turnovers on the year too, and
right.
This Braden Smith in his first official game ever as a Boilermaker set the rookie record or freshman record for steals in a game at 7. He is a pest. He is a pest. He can pass the rock. He can shoot the rock, but he's relentless on defense as well from the point guard position. So I'm excited to see how they look, but I have my reservations.
For sure. And another thing, Marquette, they don't have their leading scorer from last year now. Like they're implementing new pieces too. Early in the season, I've said this the last few shows, is I love to take the teams. Like if they're a favorite, I like to bet the teams that are going up against teams that are implementing new players, because it usually takes them, a while to really gel and figure out how to play with one another. So, admittedly, I haven't watched a lot of Marquette in the first week, but I just think the spot here favors Purdue mainly because they're at home. It's a tough place to play at, and I just think they're more talented. So we're gonna see. I know that I don't like to say all this about Purdue, so. I'm talking from a gambling standpoint here, Greg. So
yeah, and we're just trying to be honest. We're not trying to hurt anybody's feelings, and I'll throw my shots like laying bricks, but that's just facts. It was 3 for 19. Anyways, let's go to a different Big Ten matchup. We got the Champions Classic, the State Farm Champions Classic that will be hosted in Chicago in 2023. But we got Duke and Kansas in the night slate, and we have Michigan State versus, and now I'm blanking completely, Michigan State versus Kentucky. Yes. And Sarah, we do have a message from John Callapari in our Slack if you want to pull this up. But Cody, you have a lock. I have locks on this game. I am going to take Michigan State +7 is where I got it, and I'm also going to take Michigan State race to 10 points at +135, and I'm going to take Kentucky under 34.5 first half points at +130. The reigning national player of the year, Oscar Tshiebwe, will be returning to action this week after having knee surgery. He's supposed
to play tonight.
Yes, he will be playing tonight.
But
that's the thing is, there's the concern about if he's playing. But here's John Calipari on Twitter, and let's play this message because I just find it absurd. So John Calipari is like telling people and telling Kentucky faithful that they need to be patient with this team. Mm-hmm. So Michigan State, who just played Gonzaga to a 1-point matchup, give me Michigan State +7 because Tom Izzo, like he said, his dear friend, is going to have his team ready. I'm concerned that Kentucky might lose this game straight up. So give me a 7-point cushion.
Yeah, I mean, I like the ideology behind it. That's kind of the way I looked at it in terms of taking Michigan State +7. More so just because Tshiebwe is playing his first game. If Tshiebwe had, been healthy coming into the year and, played the last couple games, I would probably consider Kentucky, but also the spread probably would be higher. But that's also why I like the under 141.5. I think that, with everything that he just said regarding, that team, you don't really know what you're going to get. I could see a lot of bricks. And Michigan State also wants to play slow. The over-under for the game against Gonzaga was in like the 140s, and then it ended up in like the 120s because Michigan State couldn't make a three to risk like at all. I think they shot like 18%. But I do think they'll shoot better tonight, but I just don't really know what to expect from Kentucky. I just don't think this is a good spot for them. If they come out and blow Michigan State out, I think that we probably overvalued Michigan State a little bit more because of the 1-point loss to Gonzaga, in which they honestly should have won. They blew it. But I'll for right now, I will ride Tom Izzo in November. I don't like doing it, but I'm going to do it tonight.
Greg, how do you feel?
It's both teams don't have very much depth. I'm seeing, they're reliant a lot on their starting lineups. Tshiebwe is a beast. It looks like he's ready to go. Don't really know if Michigan State really has anybody that can take him. I don't know. To me, I've never been the Gonzaga game's a weird one. They played it on a boat.
Yeah.
This is going to be in a basketball court. I don't know. There's something
still
about
a neutral
that.
court though.
Yeah, it's a neutral court. I think the Kentucky fans always travel well. Michigan State fans will certainly be there, but I think it'll be more of a Kentucky crowd there tonight. It's down in Indy. So I'm leaning more towards Kentucky in this one. I just don't know if Michigan State can run with a team like Kentucky. Talent-wise, they both, like I said, are pretty thin after, from what they bring on their bench. So I don't know. To me, I just don't know if they have anybody that can take the National Player of the Year. And if he's ready to go tonight, that's the equalizer. So in my opinion, spread aside, I think Kentucky is going to win this game.
All right.
Do you think they cover the 7 though?
That's just such a tough one. And I can see how you guys can go crazy about this stuff. Because in basketball, if it's a 4 or 5 point game at the end, and then they let go of the rope in the last couple minutes, could the game be close for the majority and then fall out of the 7? I could absolutely see that,
That's a bad beat for you, buddy.
Yeah, but I don't think Kentucky, I don't think either of these teams, and we saw it in the Gonzaga game, I don't think either of these teams have a shooter to like really just put this game out. I think it's always going to be just fouls and ticky-tack and layups, and I think it's going to be an ugly game.
I think Michigan State's biggest problem that we'll see as the season goes along is they just don't really have a full like go-to guy. Their team is going to require a lot of like just team basketball, like hard hat, lunch pail, Big Ten shit. You know what I mean? Like I don't know how else to say it. That's just how I feel. And that's why I'm not really that high on them in the Big Ten. But again, you lose. You not only do you cover, but you almost win against Gonzaga, and in a honestly a big game. It was nationally televised. Now you go back and do another nationally televised game against another top program. I think Izzo will at least have his guys ready to go. I don't know if they win. I just think 7 is. I think they keep it to a couple possessions. I think it'll be close, especially with how Kentucky is. Just kind of, again, the spot here is tough for them. Just getting to Tshiebwe back, and you don't really know how things are going to go. You don't even know how many minutes he's going to play.
Right.
So, I think it'd be different if we knew more about that situation. But,
absolutely. And we do know that the nightcap of this is going to be Duke, Kansas, the reigning national championship. Kansas Jayhawks. Shout out to Sarah, who's a Kansas alum behind the camera. Greg, you got any beat on this one? Duke is favorite -2, right?
Yes, a 2-point spread. Kansas is underdog, I believe. Yes.
So anything you like in this, Greg, or anything that you're looking out for in this game? A now Coach K-less Duke.
Yeah, John Shire, right? The man that took Derrick Rose's player of the year in Illinois high school basketball. I can remember a young Gregory Braggs being very upset about that back in the day. I don't know. I'm happy for Shire, though. He's a local kid. So, I'm definitely leaning Duke in this game. I think that their, recruiting class that they had coming in has a lot of talent. It's going to be a close one, though. So that's why the line is as close as it is. but I think Duke is going to win this game. It's neutral court. I think more Kansas fans will be there than Duke fans. So that's certainly something to consider as far as just momentum shifting and the feeling inside that stadium. So that definitely has me thinking. But, to me, I think Duke has the potential to be a Final Four team. So that's where I'm leaning is Duke taking this one.
They also got Jacob Grandison coming off the bench, Illinois transfer. He was a starter for Illinois, and he's coming off the bench for Duke. So that says a lot to me.
Have we not heard about Kansas's player, though? The savior that's going to save Kansas Jayhawks basketball?
Is it just another white guy who makes threes?
It is another white guy that makes threes. But do you see his last name there, Cody?
I do, Sean.
His name is Dick.
Yeah, okay.
It's Grady Dick. Grady.
Sounds like raining.
He's 6'7", a lot of inches there, from Wichita, Kansas. He is 17 years old. The man was born in 2003. And he has the last name Dick.
That makes me feel so old.
I know, right? Grady Dick is going to go over 13.5 points. And what I do like in this game, you mentioned the under in that Michigan State and Kentucky game. I don't think they're going to be able to shoot from the outside. That's my big concern. But this game, I do think will be very back and forth. These two teams, I do think, are in a better state than the Kentucky and Michigan State teams are. So I do think that a healthy over-under of 139 and a half is very accomplishable. So we got that because of the 2 championship classic boosts on DraftKings. We got that up to a 2-leg parlay. Grady Dick over 13.5 points and over 139.5 at plus 130. So I'm excited about that one because the man's name is Grady Dick. He's the Gatorade National Player of the Year.
When did you place the bet on the over?
This morning.
But
the over is teased down.
Oh, okay.
The over is teased down to I was an alternate total.
I was gonna say,
and then
it's
the parlay
145 right now. So
yeah, the parlay.
Yeah, okay.
Boosted up to.
You're good.
So I think it was like plus 130, and then the boost gives you an extra 50%.
Well, speaking of Grady Dick, Sean, I'm taking him. I made a parlay. I'm going to take the 2+ threes with
for Grady Dick.
For Grady Dick, yes, and then Jalen Wilson over 6.5 rebounds. He had double-digit rebounds, I believe, in his last game, and then Mark Mitchell over 4.5 rebounds. Both forwards. I honestly don't really like the over. I'm not betting it, but I feel like we're going to see a lot of missed shots, and maybe the over goes over because of offensive rebounds, putbacks, and stuff like that. But I feel like this first half could start slow, and then it picks up in the second half. So with bricks comes rebounds. So that's why my thing is full of that. Where's Braggs, Sarah?
Bye, Greg. Anyways, that was fun. Oh, hey.
Oh, there he is.
There he is.
Okay.
I'm here.
You weren't, though.
Anyway, so yeah, I'll probably bet the game, and I kind of lean Duke too, but you give me Kansas as an underdog plus 110 on the money line, like that's like begging me to do it. So in a way, I kind of think of it as a trap, but I also am like, I want to do it. So I think it'll be a close game. Maybe I wait till halftime, live bet it. I think that's a safe play. These two programs, Blue Bloods, they know this game means a lot no matter what part of the year they're in. They're out trying to prove that, Kansas out to try and go back to back, and Duke is trying to prove that, they're still a blue blood and a top program without Coach K. Like I feel like this is going to be a good one.
Yeah, and the other couple games we got here, if we're going to my locks, App State and Louisville. This game is currently in the first half. App State is up 26-14, 6:38 left to play. I had App State plus 5.5 at minus 110. I also had App State on the money line. Cody stupidly took Louisville minus 6. Why?
Well, because Appalachian State has played no one, and Louisville.
Who cares?
I thought
Louisville's lost to no one. Sorry. Go explain your reasoning.
Do I put you down for what you
No,
bet?
you don't.
No.
I'm sorry.
Jesus fucking Christ. All right. Louisville, before losing those two games, I was reading this stat, okay? I was reading they're off to an 0-2 start for the first time since 1999 in the 2000 season. So, I don't know. I just felt like they're due. And Appalachian State has played no one. And you get to a point where you take 2 bad losses against 2 bad programs and you're like, okay, let's figure it out. And they're at home. It's early. We'll see.
My guy Dusty Kearns, the head coach of Appalachia State, is 54-41, a 56.8%.
And Appalachia State has their entire roster is new too. It goes back to like my whole thought process about, fading teams that are implementing new players. So
Louisville lost to Bellarmine and Wright State at home.
Hey, Wright State is a respectable Horizon League team, all right?
And App State won the Sun Belt in 2021.
Yeah, but none of those players are on this App State team.
Louisville lost to Lenore-Rhine. There's a Division II team. They beat Chamadine by 8.
You're right. Okay.
I mean,
you're right.
Kenny Payne's Cardinals stink.
They are not good right now, no.
So
a lot of game left. We'll see.
But we do have Maction tonight as well.
We do have Maction. At least you don't yell at me about my Maction.
I love your Maction picks.
All right. I'm taking the over on Ohio and Ball State. Carson Steele and what's his name?
Curtis O'Rourke?
Curtis Rourke or whatever.
Curtis Rourke.
They're going to put up some points, baby. They're going to help put up some points. Got it at 55. It's up to 57.5 on DraftKings right now. I think that the over is a great play. I lean Ball State to cover the 3.5. It was 4 yesterday. So money coming in on Ball State since it's moved down. So, yeah, I do like the over. With the way that Ohio, how bad they are at tackling and how bad they are at defending anything, I think Ball State can hang around and at least put up some points. And the quarterback for Ohio, Rourke, he's one of the best in the MAC. Ball State's defense is it's not the best, it's not the worst. So I think we need a 30-27 game or something like that.
Yeah, I would think that points are going to be scored. My one issue is that Carson Steele, our guy, might get like 35 carries and just run the ball, because the last time that Ohio lost was to Kent State, and they had Marquez Cooper, who ran the ball for 40 times for 240 yards. And our guy Carson Steele, since October 8th, 124 yards, 179 yards, 101 yards, 192 yards, and 198 yards. I think if Ball State wants to win this game, they're going to have to run the ball. So if I'm going to bet anything, I'm going to take Carson Steele over 150 rushing yards and Curtis Rourke plus 280 rushing yards, and I'll take the under of 63.5 because I think points will be scored, but if you're looking for, 9 touchdowns, I don't know if there's going to be enough time for that to happen. But our guy Carson Steele and Curtis Rourke should be putting up a show in the Maction.
Greg, you got anything on Maction tonight?
No, but you're right. I think the under is probably where you want to hammer it. When teams can't stop the run, that equals longer drives, right, which means time of possession. I mean, you saw even in the Bears game here on Sunday how fast that first half went by because both teams couldn't stop the run. And so when you're moving the chains like that, the halves go by a lot faster than they normally do. So I agree with you. Probably not enough time for that many touchdowns.
I get it. But I'm going to keep riding on Ohio overs.
Yeah, hey, so I don't blame you. Any final picks you got?
Bowling Green, Toledo, under 50. Bowling Green's defense or offense is awful. Just awful. Toledo is one of the best teams in the MAC. I think they can put up 40. Yeah, I mean, the spread's like 17 points. Like, I could see Bowling Green just messing around and hanging around with that somehow, some way. But I'm just going to take the under because Toledo's the better team and Bowling Green stinks. Though they are fighting to get a bowl game because I think they need one more win to become bowl eligible. But so they're going to come out and play hard, I'm sure. But just based off what we've seen the last few weeks with them against MAC teams, like their offense is bad. So I like the under 50 on that one.
Toledo's real good. Before we wrap it up, Greg, you got any final questions for us? You got any
other plays? Any other college
you
basketball games?
Help making plays?
I know Vermont plays tonight at like 10 p.m. You weren't here at the office today. I told everyone that I live bet Hawaii at like midnight last night.
Well, you're a degenerate. I mean,
it's true.
Are you guys going to be talking basketball tomorrow? Because there's some interesting games tomorrow as well. You got Michigan and Pittsburgh. Michigan barely squeaks out. I know Amoni Bates is a star player, but Eastern Michigan almost had their number here the other day. So that's got my ears up because I thought Michigan would be better than that. And I understand Amoni Bates is a perennial kind of star kind of player, not the kind of player you typically see at Eastern Michigan. And then the other games I'm looking at just for bigger picture, I want to see how Houston does against Texas Southern. To me, they're a national title contender. I love the way they play the game. They've been knocking on the door here lately to win a national title. And then Gonzaga and Texas tomorrow night. I don't ever have a lot of respect for Gonzaga. You'll be hearing a lot of bashing of Gonzaga from me. Yeah. I do not like them. I think they play in a weak conference, and
they do.
I agree. 100% agree.
Yeah, everyone agrees with that.
Yeah.
and they get grandfathered into the top 5 every year, and they never have to actually earn it, and then earn it to keep it, and so it's kind of like this catch-22 where they play 1 or 2 games all year that have any kind of levity to it, and then they just get to hang out in the top 3 all season long, and then before you know it, the March Madness comes around and they get knocked out by the Sweet 16 because the Big Ten and other conferences, ACC, SEC, whatever you want to say, they're going through the dogfight 2 games a week. Every single game is something, a new test, a new battle, a new challenge, and there's a lot of wear and tear when it comes to that kind of a schedule. Gonzaga never has to go through that. I was rooting against them the other night with Michigan State. So be interested to see how Texas can handle them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it right now. You can get Gonzaga on the money line at plus 105. It's a 1.5 point spread. So Vegas believes this one's going to be close, over under 44 or 144. I don't know a ton about Texas. And I'm with you in terms of what you said about Gonzaga. But I will say Gonzaga always plays a pretty tough non-conference. I mean, last year they played a pretty tough non-conference, and I think that's why they got the respect that they did from, the AP poll and all that junk. But yeah, they play it's St. Mary's and that's it in the West Coast Conference. Gonzaga and St. Mary's, right? So like I get what you're saying. So with that said, Gonzaga knows that they have to play well in the non-conference to get any respect, and they know that goes into their seeding. So I think they're going to show up for this game. They know they played a bad game against Michigan State where they honestly should have lost. I think they come out tomorrow and bounce back against a Texas team that I know is good. But, again, Gonzaga was ranked the top 5 to start the year. It's for a reason. And as much as I hate the fact that they get all the respect they do, their recruiting classes over the last few years have been really good as well. So they still have Drew Timme, who's a stud, as much as I hate to say it. But, I mean, it's not very few times you can get Gonzaga as an underdog.
Right.
So.
Well, and I like Purdue, Iowa, Seton Hall tomorrow as well. That should be a fun game as well. So not even outside of the top 25 matchups, it should be a good day of college basketball as well. And there's more action on Wednesday as well. But we'll be next with you on Thursday for our NFL picks, and then on Friday for our college football picks. Thank you to Greg for joining us, and he will continue to join us each and every Tuesday when we talk college basketball. You can follow Greg on Twitter at gbraggsjr23 on Twitter. That is Cody Delmendo. You can follow him on Twitter at Cody_CHGO. I'm Sean Anderson. You can follow me on Twitter at Sean_W_Anderson. Thank you to Sarah for producing us today. We will talk to you tomorrow we'll talk to you on Thursday when we are millionaires, and we'll be playing on a boat like, what was that? Michigan State Gonzaga? They're going to give us that boat.
On an aircraft carrier.
Yeah. That'll be our next boat. We'll see you then.